Hello friends, welcome to the lecture. In last few lectures we have seen historical development of British government in India, how they advanced in India, how they got legality, how they raised their stature from just only a trading company to become government of India. Now hereafter we are going to study the next few development. As we have studied in the Government of India Act of 1858, that is the Act for Good Government of India, wherein British government abolished East India Company. This abolition of East India Company has led to another very important development. It has given the entire government of India into the hand of British Crown, and British Crown assumed paramountcy over all the affairs of the government in India. So what were the legal development after 1858 that we will study in these next few lectures. After the Government of India Act 1858, three important acts were passed. They were Indian Councils Act of 1861, then it was 1892 and it was 1909. These were three important acts: Indian Councils Act of 1861, 1892 and 1909. What was the basic purpose of these three acts? Britishers realized after the revolution of 1857 that it is not possible to rule India unilaterally. It would be more difficult when there are more revolts, when there are more discontent, and when there is more what we can say uprising in India. So they realized that through responsible behavior of British government, through responsible behavior of British officers, we need to seek cooperation of the locals, we need to seek cooperation of Indians in the administration. This will help us to fulfill our goals of having a good administration in India and taking more and more advantage of India. So these three acts of 1861, 1892 and 1909 Act were aimed at seeking cooperation of Indians in the administration. Now what were the legal development in these three acts that we will try to understand one by one. The first important act was Indian Councils Act of 1861. Let's see what this act says. Now the most important development of the Act of 1861, it made a beginning of representative institutions in India. Now see, when questions are asked on prelims, many a time the questions are asked, what is the first, what is the second, what was the milestone development, what was the milestone achievement. So, and every act's milestone achievement must be remembered. Don't go into unnecessary facts and figures. It is the beauty of UPSC that it never asks questions on unnecessary and those jargons and facts. UPSC will ask you certain landmark questions which are based on the important developments in legal and constitutional history of India. So what is the most important development of the Act of 1861 is this act started, or it made a beginning of representative institution in India. How? It said that Indians should be associated with law making process of the Viceroy. This was the most important development. This act said that Indians should be associated with law making process in India. Viceroy should nominate some of the Indians as non-official members of his expanded council. We have seen in last few acts, Viceroy will be having an expanded council which shall be called as Legislative Council, and on this Legislative Council, Viceroy can nominate Indian as non-official members. So here I want to make one point very clear. Whenever the word non-official members comes, so these non-official members are nothing but Indians who are associated with the council. So remember this thing, Viceroy should nominate some Indians as non-official members of his expanded Legislative Council who had the function to make laws for India. So this was the most important development of the Act of 1861. Lord Canning was the Viceroy when this act was passed. Lord Canning nominated 3 Indians to his Legislative Council in the year 1862. The names of these 3 Indians are very important from prelims as well as many examinations point of view. The 3 names are, one is Raja of Banaras, second the Maharaja of Patiala, and third one Sir Dinkar Rao. Remember these three names. I repeat once again, Lord Canning nominated 3 Indians to his legislative council. They were Raja of Banaras, the Maharaja of Patiala, and third important name is Sir Dinkar Rao. Now, another important thing of this act was this act of 1861 is started the process of decentralization. It started the process of decentralization. So what it did, that we will try to understand. So we will have a brief look at this thing. So what this act says, let us see. See, it started the process of decentralization. Now what was the process of decentralization? This particular act, it restored the legislative powers of Bombay and Madras presidencies. You must be remembering that the legislative powers of Bombay and Madras presidencies were abolished, and these legislative power was the exclusive domain of Bengal presidency. But the Act of 1861, it restored the legislative powers of this Bombay and Madras presidency. This was the most important development in case of this entire development. So the next important part of this act was the centralizing tendencies that were started in from the Regulating Act of 1773. It reached at its peak under the Charter Act of 1833. So this act started the process of decentralization, and this decentralization reached at its peak in the year 1937 when a complete internal autonomy was granted to provinces in the year 1937. So this was the most important development. So whenever you are going to write the answer, you have to keep in mind the process of decentralization was started in the Indian Councils Act of 1861, and it reached at its peak in the year 1937 when provinces were provided complete internal autonomy in the year 1937. Now what it did, it established new legislative councils for important provinces. It was established the legislative councils for Bengal in 1862, northwest frontier provinces, the present Baluchistan in 1866, and Punjab in 1897. So for these 3 provinces, legislative councils were started. Here years are also very important, and names of these provinces are also important. One is Bengal, second is northwest frontier provinces, and third one is Punjab. Now here one important development was Viceroy was empowered to make rules and orders for more convenient transaction of business in the council. You must be remembering current function of President of India. Currently, President of India can also make rules for more convenient transaction of business of the house under Article 77. So same function was there with the Viceroy. He was empowered to make rules and orders for the more convenient transaction of business of the council. Another important system was Lord Canning had introduced portfolio system. What is portfolio system? A minister in charge shall be developed, and he shall be given function of certain department. A classification of work shall be there, division of labor shall be there, and it shall be duty or responsibility of that person to look after those department in complete and holistic manner. This was portfolio system. Currently we are having this portfolio system in central executive system as well as in state executive system. So remember this very important thing. The portfolio system was started by Lord Canning in the year 1859. This portfolio system got recognition in the Act of Indian Councils Act of 1861. Next important point was this Act of 1861. It empowered Viceroy to issue ordinances without concurrence of the Legislative Council during an emergency period, and this ordinance shall have a validity of 6 months. So I repeat once again, this act empowered Viceroy to issue ordinance without the concurrence of the Legislative Council during an emergency, and this ordinance shall have a validity of 6 months. Thank you very much. Keep watching and share the videos with all your friends. Thank you very much. Have a good day.